Are you ever doing an exercise and feel like if you just had an extra hand or you just had a little support on your low back, you'd be able to perform that exercise a ton better? Well, I might have a solution. Today I'm going to share with you my number one most frequently used piece of equipment in my clinic. If you're new to this channel, I'm Tara, I'm a neurologic physical therapist, and on this channel I cover anything and everything related to mobility, health, fitness, mindset in the context of someone who's suffered damage to the brain or the spinal cord, with the end goal of empowering you with as many tools as possible to take complete ownership of your rehab program. And all that being said, today I'm not going to necessarily share a concept with you or a type of exercise, but as I stated, a piece of equipment that can be applied to a ton of the exercises that I've shown on this channel and make them just that much better. So what is this state-of-the-art, super high-tech piece of equipment? Well, it's something that I call a spine corrector. And we could probably call it more of like a prop. It's typically used in Pilates and it goes by a lot of different names depending on who you're practicing with or what brand of Pilates equipment you're using. And depending on the brand, they are made out of different types of material. The one I prefer is called the spine corrector. And what it is a uniquely shaped wood frame that has a ton of benefits. But first, let's just talk about structurally, what are the benefits of this piece of equipment? Well, it's pretty solid, and the one that I use, because it does have that wood frame, it is a little bit heavier, so it's a little bit more sturdy, and it doesn't move as easily. And that'll become important when I get to some of the examples of exercises that I'm going to show using this piece of equipment. Now, as far as the shape, it has a rounded side and kind of a flatter side. So the rounded side can simulate a lot of the same exercises that you would do on a gym ball, only it is a little bit more sturdy. So for those of you who just need a little bit of extra stability, it is kind of a good replacement for a gym ball. And then the flatter side can be used for a support for a ton of body parts. Your bottom, your arm, your elbow, which we'll get into that again when I get to some of the exercises that I'm going to show here in a little bit. But it's really unique in the ways that it can support the body that you just cannot achieve with sitting in a chair or on a flat mat table. So first, what types of positions do I usually get people into on this? There's one that's called prone standing, which is extremely valuable because you can get weight bearing through the legs, weight bearing through the arms, but yet it offers a little bit more support. So if you're in the early stages and you don't feel comfortable putting all your weight on your legs, that's the benefit of that. But also you can do a lot more range of motion type activities with the arms in this prone stand position. And again, I'll get to some of the exercises that you can do in this position in a little bit. Those of you who are trying to learn how to get into quadruped, it offers a little bit more of a stable surface to get into quadruped if you're not ready to support your own body weight on your arms. You can also get into quadruped on elbows, which is an extremely valuable position for any of you that have spasticity in your arms and you can't get your arms straight. You can do easier variations of plank and side plank. You can get a little bit more activation of your glutes with a bridging option that I do with this. Using this as a support surface is also an easier way to get into half kneeling and also squatting. So I recently just talked about all the benefits of squatting. Well, this spine corrector definitely helps me to get people into a squatting position in the earlier stages. Now, what types of exercises can you use it for? Well, you can use it for a variety of stretching exercises to some of those muscles that are a little bit harder to stretch just being on a flat mat. Because of the different positions you can get into, there's different ways to retrain certain movement patterns that just can't be achieved on a flat surface. Big picture, it's not really a type of exercise, but getting onto the floor is much easier if you have a spine corrector, so that opens up a whole new world of exercises for some of you, especially if you don't have access to a mat table. I do a ton of weight bearing exercises on here and a lot of different types of core stabilization exercises on here that sometimes you can't achieve on a gym ball. And again, I'll get to examples of those here in just a minute. And there are a variety of core stabilization exercises that I love doing on this. I actually prefer this to a gym ball in most cases. Doing core stabilization exercises on a gym ball are really advanced for a lot of people, and we do, me included, have a tendency to compensate a little bit when we are on such an unstable surface. So I like this intermediate step to really isolate certain movements or certain muscles muscles around the core. Now, of course, I can't just tell you about a piece of equipment like this without also showing you the variety of ways that I use it, but also showing you how this might open up doors in your own rehab program at home. So enough of me rambling, let's head over to the clinic and take a look at what some of these exercises look like. So for this, all I'm showing you is a way that you can use the spine corrector to improve your posture when you're performing, especially a lower extremity or leg exercise in sitting. Posture is extremely important just to get chains of muscles to work together appropriately. And with that said, a lot of times after a stroke or a brain injury, if you have a lot of upper extremity spasticity, you will have a tendency to kind of lose that postural alignment in your upper body because of that, and it will impact lower extremity exercises or leg exercises. So just a way to kind of use the spine corrector to help keep that upper body posture vertical. And then you can perform a variety of leg exercises, really getting the most out of those leg exercises, knowing that your upper body is in the right posture. So this is just a basic tutorial just teaching you how to get down into a squatting position using the spine corrector. You can use a couch. You don't necessarily have to use a mat table here, but you can see you do want something very solid behind it, just to kind of help hold it in place just a little bit better. But you're just using your strong arm. You're just gonna kind of lower yourself down, get comfortable on this higher surface. And if you feel comfortable up there, then you can just lower yourself down a little bit more. Great position just to stretch those hips, knees, and ankles. I know I have a few different variations of this squatting position, but it really is just because I love this position so much. So just learning how to get down into this squatting position, and then again, just pushing back up, and then up a little bit more. So for this video, what I'm showing you is just how to get into an almost half kneeling position using the spine corrector. The reason I like this is because your bottom stays supported. So it's really for those of you who maybe don't have the range of motion or the flexibility yet to get into this position. This is kind of like an intermediate way of getting into this position without having to load this leg. Just really learn getting the flexibility back in this leg. So I know a lot of you struggle with bending your knee back this far or getting your leg into this position to even get into the kneeling position. So this would be a great exercise for you to, again, get the flexibility back. You can see I'm almost in that half kneeling position, and then really it's just learning how to push up here, right? So you're very supported. You don't need to push up onto that knee, but just a great position to kind of get in preparation for getting into the half kneeling position. And then back. So what I'm doing for this exercise is just a thoracic spine stretch. So you just want to bring your hands behind your head just to support your head, and you're basically just kind of letting that chest just open up as much as possible. I'm just holding that 30 to 60 seconds. For this exercise, what I'm showing is just a way to stretch out everything on this side of my body using the spine corrector. I do like to have it sitting next to something like a chair or a couch just to support your head a little bit so you can totally relax. And then again, you're just going to kind of lay over the barrel, let your body relax, and stretch that arm up and over your head. Again, you're just stretching everything out on this side of your body, which can become really tight, especially if you have hemiparesis. So a lot of times we collapse on the involved side. So this is just to get everything elongated on that involved side of your body. And then just hold it 30 to 60 seconds. And then this is your stronger arm, so then you can just use this arm to push back up. So what I'm doing doing for this exercise is an upper extremity weight bearing exercise. I like doing this on the spine corrector because this flat piece right here, it really serves as kind of a stabilizing surface to help keep the elbow straight. So basically I'm saying this is my involved arm, and what I'm doing is loading that arm and then just unloading the opposite arm just a little bit at a time, trying very hard to keep the arm that's the involved arm as straight as possible and really, really strong all the way up through that shoulder. So I'm going to show that to you again. So this part of the arm, it really can't bend because of where this falls right here. So this kind of stabilizes that arm. And then you're just going to do little forwards and backward movement with the opposite arm, really loading this arm and unloading the opposite arm. So for this exercise, what I'm focused on is weight bearing through my involved elbow. The reason I like this position, this is called a prone standing position, is it kind of helps to dissociate the upper body from the lower body, but also to engage the upper body and the lower body together at the same time. So what I mean by that is a lot of times the upper body will have one specific pattern it will move in after damage to the brain or the spinal cord, and the leg the same thing, and they kind of link up. So you'll get, when you do some arm movement, you'll get kind of a similar pattern in the leg. By standing on your legs, you're breaking up that pattern. So you're isolating an upper body movement while maintaining your legs in more of a standing position. So one, it breaks up the upper body from the lower body, but two, it also simulates kind of a return to walking because you typically need to move your arms while supporting your body weight on your legs. So those are the two reasons I like this exercise. Anytime you're in a prone standing position like this, especially if you've had damage to your brain or your spinal cord, you're going to feel a pretty good stretch on the back of your leg. That's normal. Try not to bend that knee to kind of relieve that pain. That's a compensation that I see quite a bit. It is a good stretch for your calf, especially if you have spasticity in your calves. So do the best that you can to try and keep those legs straight but not locked out, and also keep even weight bearing on your legs. Again, to kind of make this an upper body and a lower body exercise at the same time. So let me show that to you again. You're going to start kind of bent over, leaning most of your body weight onto your involved arm. Nice good support through both legs, and reach. And reach. Really engaging this arm and keeping even weight bearing through both legs. So what I'm doing for this exercise is I'm isolating hip extension. This is a prone, so what we call prone standing position. Really, really critical and beneficial exercise for relearning how to load a weak leg with a little bit more stability, because you do have this, what we call the spine corrector here to kind of support some of your body weight, but definitely really, really works to dissociate your left side from your right side, because you can see they're doing kind of two separate hip motions. One is flexed while the other one's going into extension, while also getting weight bearing through the upper extremities. So it's really working a lot of kind of movement patterns that are essential for walking, because again, you are loading that leg while also having to relearn how to engage the upper body at the same time. If you can't do it with your arms extended, the nice thing that I like about the spine corrector is you can put your elbows on this flatter surface. So if you still don't have full arm extension, you can put your arms bent on there and you're still getting really good weight bearing through your upper extremities. The other thing you can do is put an elbow immobilizer on if you can get your elbow straight, and try it that way to get weight bearing through your arms. I really like the extended arm because you do get a nice stretch for your wrist as well, so stretches that wrist towards extension. But again, let me show that to you again. So weight bearing, loading the involved leg. Now trying not to let the knee buckle or bend, so you want to keep that knee straight but not locked out. And then again, just doing the hip extension with the opposite leg. You can start with a little small range and then slowly make that range bigger. So I hope you guys found that helpful. I put a link for the one that I use in the description below. Also, all those exercises I went through, they're all part of my new membership program that is available through www.rehab-hq.com. This membership program was created specifically to decrease the barriers to you all becoming your own therapist. As you know, brain recovery, neuro recovery, movement recovery, learning in general takes thousands of repetitions. And it's really hard to do that in the 1 to 3 visits that you get in your outpatient physical therapy sessions. But I also wanted to create something where you weren't just randomly searching through the Google and YouTube and Instagram, just kind of randomly pulling out exercises. So you can filter these exercises by the category, by the type of equipment. So I have one for the Core Max because I've done a ton of videos showing exercises with the Core Max. I now have a category filtered by spine corrector. So if you do happen to purchase the spine corrector, you'll be able to go into this program and just click spine corrector, and it'll have all of the exercises where I use this piece of equipment, or that you can use this piece of equipment at home, as well as you can filter by type of movement skill. So if you're trying to learn how to get on and off the floor, or you're about to go to someone's house and they have stairs, you can filter by functional activity, so you can go right to the exercises that help to address that specific functional task with a step-by-step progression on how to relearn that functional activity. So definitely head over there, check it out. If you're new to this channel, definitely hit that subscribe button. Turn on that notification bell so that you'll get notified every time I upload new videos. This is a little bit of a different video where I show a piece of equipment, but in most cases, most of my videos are to help you understand a specific concept related to your neuro rehab program, to really, again, help you to kind of become your own therapist outside of your traditional therapy sessions. And if you're not already signed up for my newsletter, link below for the newsletter. I just send out weekly motivation just to kind of work on the mindset side of things, a little bit different than the stuff I share on this channel. So definitely sign up for that newsletter. As usual, I love spending time with you guys today. I love interacting with you all in the comments. Keep the questions coming, keep the comments coming. 1000% of the content on this channel comes from your suggestions in the comments. And in fact, it was several months ago, but I'm finally getting around to it. This was a request in the comments, this more exercises with the spine corrector. So definitely leave those comments. It will most likely turn into a future video. And one last thing before I go, keep working on that 1%. Don't give up. Small things repeated day after day after day turn into big results. So keep working hard, and I will see you all in the next video.